So I want to share a tip with you that will help basically build relationships with new people and essentially make people really get connected with yourself. It helps build friends very quickly, I think. It's worked really well for me, and I want to also say that I'm not by nature an extroverted person. I'm actually introverted. I'm a bit of both, to be fair. This works basically with anyone. Doesn't really matter who. And the tip is, so whenever you're next in a situation where you're kind of meeting new people that you've never spoken to before, or maybe people that you might have only spoken very briefly, but you're not even acquaintances with them, and you're in a situation where you're meeting them. So this could be, let's say at a party, or it's an event, or somewhere social. Maybe maybe it's a new school when you're going to university or something, or when you're going your first day at work or something, or you're just meeting. Basically, you're familiarizing and you're getting to know, you're introducing yourself to someone. Always, number one, make sure that they are kind of talking about themselves more than you are talking about yourself, and try to be aware of this. So whenever you're speaking to someone, if you realize and you're aware that, oh wait, I'm actually really spilling out more about me than them, then try and immediately shift that to make them talk about themselves, or make them kind of say the things that they want to be saying or that they're interested in, and just be a very good listener. And the reason for this point here is because by nature, humans love talking about themselves, especially if it's a topic that you really like, that you're very passionate about. Then that in itself, we love to kind of go on and speak about that, what kind of our interests and stuff like that. So number one, it's very important to make sure that during a conversation they are really kind of talking about the things that they really like. But here's the most important, or the actual actionable step which you can take. So say you're at a party and you meet someone and you're just randomly speaking to them, and they are maybe it could be for 5 minutes you've spoken to them, or it could be for an hour or hours. It doesn't matter when or how long. When they are speaking to you, take note of what they're saying, specifically on the topics that they kind of bring up, because these are some of the topics that they really find interesting and passionate about. So for example, about a couple of months ago, I was at a party, and I was with a random group of people, new people, and we were just randomly speaking about things. And I was speaking to this one person, and they were saying how much they love traveling. And specifically, they brought up countries that they've been to recently. One of them was Vienna in Austria. And yeah, they were just kind of telling me so much about these places. And then I had to kind of, in my mind, I was just like, okay, they love traveling, and they're very passionate about Vienna for some reason. And I think that's cool. But take note of that. For example, after you've had that conversation with them, write down the kind of key point. It could be on your notes app or whatever, or it can be on a pen and paper as well if you want. But just one thing that you remember from that person, one thing that you can take away. I remember back in when I was at university, and we'd go on these kind of socials, and you'd meet different people from different degrees. I went on these socials with my sports team, so we'd meet other people from different sports clubs, and when you randomly speak to them, It could be completely random, the conversation that you have. I remember someone was talking to me about, I think it was their favorite cocktail or something. Write it down, because the next time you meet that person again, you want to subtly mention it, or you want to subtly drop that thing that they like. So for example, if I was to meet that person again that loves traveling and been to Vienna, I would subtly drop that, something about Vienna. So maybe like whether I was actually planning on going to Vienna, I could say that. Or after our conversation last time about traveling, I looked up kind of Vienna and stuff, and I really found it really cool. Drop a place or a specific thing to do in there. Basically, the point here is to really bring that topic of conversation that they have chosen, by the way, this is the most important thing, back. Now what this does, it does two things. It shows that, number one, you are a great listener, because when someone says something and you are and then they realize that you are a great listener, immediately what that person feels is that they feel that they've been heard, and that they, their words, what they've said, someone else has taken on board. And it's kind of like an ego boost. It's kind of a stroke on the ego, because, it's like, oh wow, that person has really thought about what I've actually said. So it's a subtle ego stroke, and it's really nice. It's a good feeling to have for the person who's actually said those things. It's kind of in the form of a compliment. And then, number two, when you do bring up that conversation, that person already likes that topic, and immediately they've invested back into the conversation. What this does is that it makes you, and it makes the conversation you had with that person memorable, right? They know who you are, rather than it's just some random person I met, one time. First of all, they would feel an emotion within, like they've been heard, slight ego stroke, but also like really friendly towards you, and then they put that emotion with your face. And number one, when you combine someone and an emotion, suddenly it becomes a very strong memory. And there you go, you built that initial rapport, that initial kind of connection with someone, and then you kind of go in from there. It's a really cool tip, this. I think it really does work. So whenever you're, let's say you are kind of out and about and you go to a party and you meet loads of random people, whenever you have a conversation with someone, after that, just note down one thing that you had like they were talking about, or that they are kind of passionate about, or topic of, just note down one topic of discussion that you've had with that person. Because when you go back to speaking with them and you bring that up subtly, then trust me, it will go a very long way. So it's a really cool way, and I think it's also very, very good in kind of the business world when you are having to make connections with people. But less of me trying to say this, but more of you taking this action, and let me know how it goes. Try it out this week, and I promise you will be surprised.